the jury in the corruption trial of a former top aide to Gov. Andrew M. Cuomo announced on Tuesday that it was deadlocked, raising the specter of a mistrial. In a flurry of notes that arrived in a federal courtroom in Manhattan, jurors painted a bleak picture of their hopes for a verdict on whether the ex-aide, Joseph Percoco, was guilty of taking more than $300,000 in bribes from executives with state business. "We are largely divided in opposing views," one juror wrote. "The only thing we seem to agree on is that we cannot agree." 3 of the jurors asked to be dismissed, describing often in dramatic terms an apparent exhaustion with the plotting trial, which is in its 7th week. But Judge Valerie E. Caperni ordered the jurors to continue deliberating, delivering a version of what is known as an Allen charge, an instruction typically given to juries when they suggest that they have reached an impasse. "It is normal, and even common, for jurors to have differences of opinion," she said, adding, "Further consideration may indicate that a change in original view is justified." She also rejected a defense request that she declare a mistrial in the case, which was initially expected to last 4 to 6 weeks. Jurors have had the case since Thursday afternoon, but much of the deliberation has been abbreviated, beginning late in the day or ending early, often at the request of jurors. Judge Caperni, speaking to lawyers without the jury present, seemed skeptical that the panel had spent enough time deliberating to be truly at a dead end. "They have not deliberated long enough to declare that they're at impasse," Judge Caperni said. A prosecutor, Janice Eschenberg, agreed, noting that jurors might benefit from some context. "I think, all told, they've had about a day and a half," she said. The judge told jurors as much before dismissing them for the day on Tuesday, instructing them that the equivalent of 2 days of deliberations in a complex corruption case was not unreasonable and it's not excessive. But jurors' notes indicated a level of frustration verging on despair, with 3 asking to be dismissed from jury service. "I physically and emotionally cannot do this anymore," one juror's note said. "I completely respect this process and this court but need to have my life back. We have some very fundamental differences, and nobody wants to compromise our own beliefs," another juror wrote. "I regret to say I can no longer continue after today." Another note read, "I feel there is nothing else I can offer to this process." That frustration, coupled with a pending snowstorm Wednesday, which led the judge to postpone the trial until Thursday, seemed to signal a trial veering dangerously close to disarray. Prosecutors and defense lawyers proposed a cornucopia of possible solutions, ranging from finishing the trial with just 11 jurors to replacing a current juror with an alternate, a move that would require the newly constituted 12-member jury to restart deliberations entirely. A defense lawyer, Stephen Coffey, dismissed that suggestion. "You're going to have a revolt," he said. Judge Caperni denied the 3 jurors' requests to be dismissed, telling them that while she was incredibly sympathetic to the burdens of jury duty, the prosecutors and the defendants were entitled to the jurors' best efforts. At least one juror seemed to shake her head as the judge told the panel to return on Thursday. The notes did not give any indication of what had caused the deadlock. But a possible sticking point is Todd R. Howe, the government's star witness, whose credibility has been under fire from the start. Mr. Howe, a former Albany lobbyist who has been cooperating with prosecutors after pleading guilty to 8 felonies, testified that he had arranged the bribes for Mr. Percoco. But defense lawyers repeatedly called him an irredeemable liar, an argument bolstered considerably in early February, when he was arrested midway through his testimony for admitting to trying to defraud his credit card company. The case has been a persistent headache for the governor, ever since it became clear in 2016 that Mr. Percoco was under investigation. Mr. Percoco was one of Mr. Cuomo's closest confidants, and the governor had previously called him his father's third son. Republicans have sought to make the trial a campaign issue as Mr. Cuomo, a Democrat, seeks re-election this year. He has not been accused of any wrongdoing. Mr. Cuomo has declined to comment throughout the trial, citing his respect for the judicial process. He demurred again on Tuesday when asked about the possible mistrial that will be a matter for the judge to handle. He said, "For her part, Judge Caproni did not rule out the possibility of another unexpected turn in the case. Hopefully we'll have 12 jurors on Thursday morning," she said.